Hello, welcome to the Path to Transformation. My name's Tammy, and I am your host today and every day. So, I have a guest on with me today. We're going to be talking a little bit about mommy issues, making friends in your 20s, 30s, and I'm really excited for you to meet her. So, before we hop in, I want to let you know that I do have morning sound bath sessions. If you are in the LA area, please join. If you are into morning meditations, you can use the code WELCOME to save some money. And also, I have the code for To Be Magnetic in the comments below. And this program allows you access to a number of different workshops. It's the Pathway membership, and these workshops help you to work on things like unblocking money, unblocking love, and you are able to tap into your subconscious mind and start to reprogram it, change these neural pathways so that you can actually start to make change in your life. So I've done To Be Magnetic a number of times. I literally love it so much, and I refer to it daily. So if you're interested, definitely check out that code below. All right, so let's hop into the episode. Hello, how are you today, Mars?
Hi, how are you?
Good. I'm so glad for you to join. We've been talking about this for like a minute, but yeah, if you want to introduce yourself.
Yeah, I'm Mars. Aries Sun, Cancer Moon,
Yes.
Cap Rising. Just moved to LA not too long ago, so very happy to meet friends with Tammy, one of my first friends here. Very grateful to have her as a friend and show me the ropes to moving somewhere new.
Yeah, I think it's super kismet, like how we met, but also like we're on very much so like same pathways or like reasonings
Yes.
of why we moved as well.
Exactly.
Because I mean, for me, like it was mostly like the weather, obviously,
Yep.
and meeting more people with like-minded interests, whether it be spirituality or being outdoors, and also like the industry of wellness that I'm in as well was like a huge thing. And then one that was silly that we also bonded over was the dating scene of like that are more men that we're interested in are more in this area. So like that's something. But yeah, like what were some of your main reasonings?
Definitely, yeah. I mean, being from New Mexico, it's not crazy difference weather-wise. It's super sunny in New Mexico, but it is warmer here more year-round, and greener. So I needed some green. I needed green. I got a little tired of the brown desert, but I love my desert. I'll always be a little desert rat forever. I love my home, but just didn't want to live in the same place my whole life. Love New Mexico. There's nowhere else like it. Love it so much with all my heart. But yeah, just want to experience. I feel like it's good for you to live somewhere else other than home once in your life. And California has always called to me since I was 18 when I came to visit for the first time, and then happened to meet my partner who lived here, and I was just constantly out here because, long distance, but I wanted to constantly get out of town, so I'd constantly come out here to see him, and it just made sense to just rent a place instead of constantly fly out here.
Seriously, the flights are crazy. Like,
Yeah.
even when it's from a close by state,
It's still, can get up there.
you're
So
still spending $200.
But yeah, I just want to make new friends, meet new people, and I just stopped and was looking at my life and was like, well, if you're ever gonna move, it's kind of now or never as you get older. So I don't have anything tying me down. I don't have kids. I'm barely starting. I'm not even like super starting my career. I'm doing school online, so I have the luxury to do that wherever I want, really. So yeah, I was just like, it's now or never before I get too settled into one place. So might as well uproot it all one time.
Right. No, I think that's like the story with a lot of people is, they do stay in one place. I mean, especially like I guess my parents' generation. Like my dad lived in his town his whole life. My mom lived in the town over her.
That's my family. Yep.
Life.
They've all lived in New Mexico their whole life, which is great. Like, it's a big sense. There's a big sense of community there, and that's why I love it. But it is a place where you can get stuck there, but I mean, for good and bad reasons. It's amazing. It's a great place to live. Great place to settle down and raise a family. But I just wanted a little bit more, and I want to travel. My best friend in the world, shout out Quetz, you're my soulmate. I love you. But she also moved away from home, so and it's real hard to get to and from New Mexico because it's such a small town. It's a city, but a small town, so not as many flights going in and out of there. So it's hard to go places, and I want to travel. And being in LA, there's an international airport that goes to direct flights all over the world, and I can see my best friend a little easier now that I'm here versus having to take multiple flights to go see her from New Mexico.
That's literally something I've never really considered.
Yeah.
Wow, I lived in an international
Yeah.
airport, so I was able to hop on anytime. But like
Yeah.
coming from where you're from, it's a
Yeah.
little bit harder.
You can still get wherever you want from Albuquerque. It's just you're gonna have to take more flights and
Right.
cost more money. Whereas like from LA, you can get direct flight LA to New York. You know, you can get direct flight from LA to Europe. You can't do that in New Mexico. You're gonna have to take a lot of connecting flights. So, which is fine, but I wanna go places and see my friends easier that are all over.
Not to be like a big sis about it, but I admire what you're doing, and I think
Aw.
you made the right decision.
Yeah, I think
And
so too.
I know I have I'm a few years older than you, but I definitely see how our paths are like
Yeah.
so similar, even though this is the fourth state I've lived in.
Yeah.
I like you're saying, like some of us can't stay in where
Yeah.
we're from, and I just think it's
Yeah.
a hard leap sometimes.
Yeah.
So what were some of like the obstacles or like things that were really hard for you to like leave?
I definitely could have stayed there forever. Like it's one of those places where you grow up and you go, I hate this town. I can't wait to leave. And then you grow up and you go, actually, this place is dope. Like I actually love it here. So I definitely, it was weird. I like fell in love with it right before I moved. But yeah, I think that was what's hard is, you know, what family I do have is there. So leaving them is hard, but you know, good and bad. I don't have a lot of family, you know. Good, it's not like I'm leaving a bunch of people, but bad, I'm leaving the people I do have. But again, like my best friend didn't live there, so you know, didn't have her. My partner didn't live there, so it's like, well, these people, I still have, you know, my great, amazing, close friends that are out there, and I miss them so much. But I know that they love me and support me and would want me to do this if it's something I want to do, you know, and they get to come see me out here. So it's hard. It's hard leaving my friends, for sure, and the comfort and the community I built out there. I had such a good group of friends and, like, you know, finally good relationships with my family and stuff like that. So it was hard to leave that and leave somewhere, you know, like the back of your hand. Never need a map while driving. I know where everything is. Like, the food, 100% miss so much. But yeah, that was probably what was the hardest, is just being comfortable, like the comfortability of it, and having to make yourself uncomfortable and start over, basically.
Yeah, because there's really no growth in comfort. Like when we are comfortable, like we can just stay and everything's good. But when there is something new that we're venturing off towards or whatever, that allows us to grow. And not saying people have to grow, but it's just a way to like kind of look at it. But I like how you mentioned your friends are super supportive and they want you to be happy. I feel like my friends have been so supportive, and I haven't shouted them out enough about it, but thank you guys. But I feel like everybody was so like, yeah, do it, Tam. Like you gotta go. Like, do it. I'm happy for you.
Yeah. I couldn't have left if they weren't supportive of it. That definitely helped. They helped me pack. They were there to see me off, and my family, even though my brother, you know, was a little sad to see me go, especially because I have my nephew and love him so much. He even was like, you're doing it. I'm proud of you. So, like, that meant a lot. But, yeah, definitely hard to leave those people. Not like I'm, like, excited to leave them, but I just have to stop and think, what am I going to regret more, doing it or not doing it? You can always, I look at it, you can always move back home.
Right, exactly.
You can always go back home. You already have a foundation there. You have friends, you have family. You can always go back. So it's like, it's either you do it or you never do it.
And like you said, you don't have commitments right now, like huge commitments like a child right now.
Yeah.
So it's why not do it? I feel like that's one of the things like my mom was always kind of supportive on, was like, if you don't have kids yet, like go freaking travel the world. Like, even though she was like always scared for me, but it was like,
Yeah.
do this stuff now.
And yeah, I think it was one of those things too where I got to stop and realize how lucky and like what a privileged situation I was in, that I was finally for the first time in my life had a really good stable job. Great job, very supportive. Boss was super supportive. My supervisor was super supportive of me moving. They let me work remotely, which is rare, hard to find that. Doing school online, finally saved up some money for once in my life. Like, I was finally in a spot where I was allowed to stop and think, do you want to do this? Because you actually can for once in your life. Like, if you want to do this, you could. And so I was like, wow, well, I'm finally in a position where I can do something like that. Yeah, I want to do it.
Like you're saying, why not do it now? And I think some people, they might put it off, and yes, like you might put it off, and like then you do have a family. But I think with some people, they might put it off, but they actually won't revisit it, and like it is on their heart.
Yeah.
But then there's some people that they'll revisit it and maybe they will do it, but oftentimes, like with the idea of retirement too, and like, oh, I'll travel like when I'm retired. Like, I'm not saying put yourself into debt or anything, but like that's one thing that helped me, like that I was able to see, of like my mom dying at 57, so she never even made it to retirement. So like it was very much so, oh wait, we're saving, like we're waiting to live our lives, but it actually might not get to that point.
Yeah, I like the saying of like the money will always come back. It'll always come back to you. Like,
let's go to Europe.
No, for real. Like, for real. I'm very excited for the. Yeah, I've never left the country. I'm in my life. Yeah, so I'm excited to finally start doing that this summer, and like travel more. I've always wanted to travel since I was like 14. That was been like something I've always wanted to do, and then COVID happened and made me terrified to do that. So now I'm like, okay. I want to get back into being excited about that. So being here definitely makes that way easier to do that.
So you've very much so had become like independent and like had to put yourself on your feet at a young age.
Yeah, I've been living on my own since I was like 16, 17. Yeah.
So do you mind going into that a little bit, and like some of the, I guess, struggles for anybody that is really like
just interesting upbringing. My mom, she wasn't around when I was born, was raised by my grandparents, so my grandparents have always very much been my parents. They've always been like, they're the ones that raised me and my brother, and he agrees, we always look at them as our parents, even though they're our grandparents. They're the ones that have always been there for us since we were day one. They've been there for us and took care of us and housed us and fed us and clothed us, even while my grandmother was fighting breast cancer and later on multiple different types of cancer and heart conditions and all this. She still was always there. Our grandparents were always there for us. So my mom kind of wasn't around for the first like 8 years of my life. She came back around, got custody of me, which I wanted because I wanted to live with my brothers because they lived with her. And they were really important to me. So I was like, I want to be with my brothers, So I lived with her until, from like 8 until, 16, 17, till I was like a senior in high school, like halfway through my senior year. And that's when, ever since I moved with her, things were okay. And over time, they slowly started to go downhill with, unfortunately, her addiction, which, is a disease, but as a child, that's hard to deal with because you need a parent. So I definitely feel like I became the parent to my younger brother, as much as I could for being a teenager. And, my brother, he's older, my older brother, he was there for a while, but, you grow up and move out. And so, yeah, especially after he moved out, it got really bad because they had a better relationship. She always had a better relationship with my brothers than with me. I was the only girl. I didn't really know her too well. I knew of her and knew her, but we didn't have the closest relationship the first, 8 years of my life, and even after, not the closest relationship. So by the time I was, a senior in high school, her addiction was really bad. She had lost her job as a teacher. It just gotten real bad, and I was barely going to graduate high school because my mental health at the time was very, very bad. like trigger warning, self-harming, suicidal, like terrible depression. My senior year of high school, I probably only showed up for like 50% of it because I would just constantly call out or just constantly ditch and not show up because I was so tired, just didn't care, and had to work a lot too through high school to help pay bills and help support the family and everything like that. So by the time I was a senior in high school, I literally just ran away. I ran away to my brother because he had an apartment at a time. So I literally just showed up at his work one day and was like, I'm gone. And he was like, all right, come stay with me. So I stayed with him for a while, but, only so much room in a one-bedroom apartment with him and his girlfriend at the time. So I ended up living with my grandparents again for the second time in my life. And then I ended up running away from there too because I was just, a snotty, 17-year-old that didn't want to be told what to do because I just came from an environment where no one told me what to do because I was the parent and in charge of myself, to them being, because they love me and care about me, trying to like control me and tell me what to do and this and that. So it was really hard to go from one to the other,
right,
two extremes, complete opposites. They were only doing the best they could. They were just trying to help me, but I ran away again. I was a shitty 17-year-old, and I just stayed with people I knew and then got my own apartment at 18.
I seriously admire your strength so much because I've had mental health, and a parent with an addiction too, but it was my environment was definitely like I was still in the like house with my parents and they were still like quote unquote like married, but from my perspective it wasn't very like, it was very distant. I felt like I was like alone like in the house in a sense. So yes, I had like the food and the shelter, but like so I come from like the privileged, I feel like, aspect. So it's interesting to like meet other people and I admire your strength and like you put yourself through that and you're so strong and everything, like
and it was also a single parent household for most of the time for that too as well. So I know how it could have been hard on her, but at the end of the day, as a kid you need a parent. So
but you freaking did it and you got yourself like you're in school and like you're putting yourself
now
through
finally
everything.
Going to college. It's 10 years later, but we're doing it.
No, seriously, like doesn't matter, the timeline doesn't matter, you're doing it. Exactly. I'm just so happy for you.
Oh, thank you.
Oh my god,
we're here, we did it. It truly gets better.
Literally, no, it does get better.
I remember in high school just thinking, wow, everyone would say it gets better. Shut up, no it doesn't.
No, seriously, that's exactly what I thought.
But they were right. It does get better, unfortunately. Like literally just wait it out, it will get better.
It really does. So what were some of the things like you had to like pep yourself, talk yourself up to like continue persevering and like getting through to like your 20s? And
a lot of it, from being a teenager until probably my early 20s was just, you don't really have another choice when you're like that, poor and broke. Like you don't have another choice. It's get up and go to work, or you don't have a house, you don't have food. So I've worked a lot of shitty jobs for a long time. Up until recently, I finally had like some good income, good jobs and stuff like that. But for a while there, not the best jobs. I don't really know what I would tell myself or what I was thinking at those times, other than like I have to do this.
Survival mode almost.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
I think so. I think a lot of that was just survival mode. Definitely.
And to be like clear too, you were doing this like mostly by yourself. Like you were in relationships sometimes, but you weren't relying on somebody else necessarily.
No, I always had my own apartment. I always paid my own bills. I've been having my own place to live, paying my own rent, paying my own bills since I was 18. Well, before that. Before rent, I still paid my own bills since I was like 15. But definitely been renting and having my own apartment since I was 18. Just been on my own, most of the time. Had roommates one other time. But that was definitely of a for fun thing versus like a need to thing. I mean, it definitely was nice to save a little bit of money, but definitely just before I moved here, I had my own 2-bedroom apartment in Albuquerque that I just lived in by myself for a few years. So, yeah, never really had anyone else helping me out. I mean, I have my family. Thankfully, my brother let me crash with him for like 6 weeks one time when I was in between apartments. But yeah, never like having partners pay my bills or anything like that. Yeah, never lived with a partner before.
In terms of your relationship with your mom today, like, can you tell us a little bit how that is?
Yeah, I know.
It is Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day. When you
Mother's
texted me like, hey, we should go for a hike today, I was like, I love this. Thank you so much, because it's nice to have, well, it's sad and fortunate to have other friends that get like mommy issues, but I really appreciated the gesture.
Yeah, definitely. It's kind of slowly becoming my not knowingly. I didn't like purposely start this, but I've noticed every year on Mother's Day I end up going on a hike. So yeah, that's definitely become my thing now, just to keep me busy, and because I can get sad, definitely. Yeah, one, just like, that's been something I've had to grieve, not having your mom in your life. And then it's been about a year since my grandmother died, which earlier, I said our grandparents raised us, so she definitely, was like our mom, basically. We had our own relationship with her, but she was there through everything, and yeah, she raised us. So that's also been hard. So now having both of them not in my life, not having any motherly figure in my life. After she passed, I was the last, like, technically I'm the matriarch now of my family, because my family's so small, but like, yeah, like, there's no one else really around. So now it's on me and my brother. Like, we used to be the children of the family, now we're the adults. And he's growing his own family, and like, now we're the grown-ups of the family. And like, he lives at home with our papa, and it's there for him and helping taking care of him. So it's definitely weird having that shift, going from child to like head of household, almost, of like making the tough decisions. Like, we were the ones that had to, like, when my grandmother was in the hospital, make that choice to let her go and take her off life support and be there with her. And as she passed, we watched her pass over, and we're there with her when it happened. And so yeah, Mother's Day can be a little hard, just because you start to miss them and stuff like that. But definitely, yeah, it's weird having to grieve someone who's alive. Definitely strange. Yeah, because I definitely feel like I've grieved her. But it's weird knowing in the back of your mind you're going to have to do it again. When she passes eventually. Yeah. So it's weird. Like, I've grieved her, but there is going to be a second wave of grief one day.
So grieved her because she's no longer in your life?
Yeah. She's not around. She's not in your life. She's not who she was or is anymore. She's not around. And like, that's also our own choice. I've made peace with that I've made that choice. I think our relationship is better by not having one. I think we're better off that way, not being in each other's lives. Sometimes that's just what's best for each other, even if someone is family. I'm a big believer in, like, family is also who you choose, not just who your blood is.
Yep.
So, yeah, and we try to have a relationship, and we tried twice to have a relationship, and it didn't work. So that's just what it is, and made peace with it. I obviously still have love for her. At the end of the day, she's always going to be my mother. She always brought me into this world. Always be grateful for that, and I'm sure she did the best she could, but sometimes it's just not enough for people, and I don't know if that makes me sound like a bitch or something, but I just know the type of relationship we have and had and would have, and it's just better to not have that. I just know I can't handle it. I just know that since she's been out of my life, I finally have been able to heal. And, I've been diagnosed with PTSD, and it was because of growing up with her and things like that. So, yeah, definitely have made peace with that choice, but you still grieve that relationship. And knowing, and especially now with my grandmother gone too, knowing that you're not going to have someone there on your wedding day. You're not going to have someone when you have your first child, especially as a woman. Especially as a woman, that's a little hard to not have anyone to go to ask questions to. Even just recently with all my health diagnoses, I don't have anyone to ask, like, even just family history wise as a woman. It's like, I don't have anyone to ask or talk to about this.
Right, so, like, did this person have this? Did they have this?
Yeah, grieving, one, because it's like that person's not in your life and miss them, but also grieving for, like, the future and, yeah, what like, yeah, I have questions.
Yes.
No one to ask.
I literally always said that. I'm like, you grieve their loss, you grieve the unknown, but then yes, you also grieve the future of like, oh well, like you could have been here on my wedding day, you could have did this, you could like, you're not here for this, like,
yeah,
I completely agree. So you probably talked to her when you were like a few years ago, would you say?
Last time I spoke to my mother, I think I was 17, 18.
Oh wow, okay.
Almost, yeah, like 10 years now almost.
Okay. And like in terms of addiction, she was an alcoholic?
Yeah, mostly drank. I mean, we don't really know what else was going on. I also just go based off of what like my grandparents and my grandma would take me. You know, I take that with a grain of salt. I've learned not to 100% trust what anyone says, even if they are your family.
Right.
Just because we all have our own versions of stories, you know. I'm sure I have my own versions of stories when it comes to her and everything.
So you literally don't really know her whereabouts nowadays?
No, not really. I know there's other family members that do keep in contact with her. She'll pop up every so often. She never talks to me directly or like my brother. I mean, mostly one, because we have her like blocked on everything. I mean, she's had her partner try to reach out to us and stuff, but that was like years ago. But I've just chosen to block her. Don't know if she has a new number or anything. You know, she hasn't tried to reach out too hard or hard at all. So, you know, and I don't reach out. I don't, because I've chosen to not have that relationship, but she also doesn't really try to reach out to us either. But she'll reach out to, I think last time, I think she sometimes will call my papa, but he doesn't talk to her. He also doesn't really want anything to do with her. When my grandmother died, he even said, like, she's not allowed here. We don't want her here. Even though, like, that was her mom when she died. And I do feel bad. Like, that has to be so hard to, like, know your mom's dying and you can't be there and say goodbye. But, you know, I was doing what their wishes were, and my grandfather's wishes were, we don't want her here. She wouldn't want her here. Grandma wouldn't want her here. So I went off of his wishes, and, you know, me and my brothers talked, and we're like, this is why it's important to, if people are important to you, have a relationship with them. You know, like, if you care about someone and love someone, you have to work for that. You can't just show up when it's convenient to you or because you feel bad. You have to work for that. You have to earn that. And yeah, that's why it was really hard to lose my grandma, because we were there. You know, we would go and see her every week and spend time with them and help them and help take care of them and help do things for them as much as they let us and stuff like that. Like, we built that relationship with them. Not one only because they were there for us and raised us, but because then we returned the favor and we were there and building that relationship and talking to them and showing up and spending time with them.
So you said she obviously is an addict, which is a disease, which that's been something hard for me to grasp. Did she also have a mental health condition?
Definitely. I mean, who knows? Name one, probably. Like, she probably has a bunch of them, and I don't blame her for that. I don't blame her for her addiction. That's a disease. It's not her fault. I don't blame her for her mental illness. I know she definitely has mental illness, but I do, as someone who does struggle with mental illness yourself, it's not your fault, but it's your responsibility.
Right.
And I don't know. I mean, maybe this is rude of me to say. I'm not a mother. I don't know. But I just feel like as a parent, that's your responsibility. Like, being an addict and having mental illness is not your fault, but it's your responsibility to try and handle it and take care of it so you can be there for your children and be a good parent. I mean, with anyone, any relationship, even friends or a partner, like, that's still your responsibility to fix and work on so you can be there for the people you love and care about.
Especially, I feel like with that generation too, like there was even more of the shame around getting help in mental health. Yeah. And that was one of the things that was hard for me to like grasp, was like that allegedly my mom was going to check herself into the mental hospital or whatever. Then she felt too much shame because she knew people there, and she drove away. And I was like, damn, if she had actually gone and like maybe gotten on the right medication or whatever, could she have been here? So I have a lot of like the what ifs, like, well, what if
I know,
like if they did this, if she did this, if I knew she was having a heart attack, like I have a lot of those. But
I get a lot of the what ifs, but you have to just you can't. That's not what happened. What happened is what happened. And at the end of the day, it's like, it's up to them to want to change and get help. And if they don't, they don't. You can't force anyone to do that. But yeah, the what ifs. I feel that all the time, even just with my grandmother, thinking of all the what ifs, like right before she passed. But you can't do that to yourself. You can't think of the what ifs.
How has your mom's relationship with drugs, alcohol, and her addiction, how has that shaped your life and choices and your views on like substances? And
I mean, I definitely didn't drink for a long time because I was not only, she struggled with addiction, but it's hard to throw you under the bus, brother, but my brother also struggled with, not nearly as bad, but sometimes a little bit, because I think we all have it in us. It is hereditary a little bit, but just being more mindful. I definitely, for a while there, was a crazy stoner, and definitely, at the time I was like, you can't be addicted to weed, which you can't compared to other substances. I agree, but you can abuse anything. You can abuse anything. And I definitely was abusing that. And so that was a big thing for me to step back and realize, okay, I'm relying a little too much on this. I'm having to use it morning, day, and night. All day, every day. So much, spending so much money on it. Okay, hold on. Let's reassess this. But yeah, I also just didn't drink for a long time because I was scared to be like her. And then right as I turned 21, COVID hit. So it's like, well, I can't even go out.
Have fun.
I can't even have fun if I wanted to. So that also just stopped me from drinking for a while because I never went out because I couldn't go out. New Mexico was one of the places that was shut down the longest.
Really?
Yeah, we were like one of the first to shut down, and we stayed shut down and had crazy restrictions. We had the mask restrictions for a very long time, too. Yeah, which I appreciate because, again, like I said, New Mexico has a really good sense of community. And we also have a lot of large, like, native populations and native reservations, and they were getting hit the hardest during COVID. So I appreciate that they were more strict for that. But anyway, yeah, so I didn't get to drink much for a while. So it's only been the last, like, few years, like, maybe last, 5, 6 years that I've started to open myself up to drinking. But I made sure to be very conscious with that and make sure it wasn't something I relied too much on. And I definitely don't think I have an issue with that, but definitely with other things. Yeah, definitely see the addictive personalities in me, so make sure to be aware of that. Definitely after, so during COVID, since I couldn't drink, I just smoke all the time. And so it was a few years. I mean, even before COVID I started smoking, and it wasn't only up until maybe 3 years ago I stopped. But yeah, definitely realized I was abusing that a little bit.
Not to be biased, but I feel like a lot of when your mom's an addict and you're a girl, I feel like can be even harder to cope with that. If it's a dad and it's a daughter, I feel like
it's so hard.
But when I feel like there's so much pressure or emphasis on the relationship of a daughter and a mother in our society, and it's your mom's gonna be here for everything, you guys are gonna be best friends, you're gonna do this, that, and the other. But when your mom is an addict,
Yeah.
And you're like, you have to grow up fast, like you're saying, and you have to be pretty tough. You have to raise yourself. You have to be a mom to her.
Yeah.
And there's just like so much. And I
Yep.
feel like, I don't know about you, but like I felt like I definitely created like a hard shell a little bit, or like walls. That's been
Yeah.
hard to like, that I've worked on. I mean, I'm sure they're still up a little bit, but knocking down sort of.
Oh yeah, I definitely feel like I had to be a mom to her. I've like, yeah, that's something I've been working on now, is like letting go of control. I definitely know my trauma response is control. I definitely like to feel like I'm in control at all times, but that can come off as controlling. So that's definitely something I've had to work on. And yeah, definitely, you know, not only was she just an addict and not, you know, the best parent figure, but like I said, single parent household, and I don't even know who my father is. So growing up with that too, seeing not really having, the only stable men family wise in my life were my papa and my brother. So, but other than that, like seeing her go through multiple relationships, that also messes with you as a woman too. And you don't have anything to base anything off of. And so, yeah, that was a huge thing that I feel like really affected me as well. I'm not saying it's necessarily her fault, but it's just how the cards fell, that I had terrible relationships. Terrible relationships. Because I didn't know what was good or healthy for the longest time until literally recently. I would say this is like probably my first healthy relationship ever. So, and being now in a healthy relationship has been one of the hardest things ever. Sometimes those toxic relationships, man, they're terrible, but oh, there's a reason why I was in so many of them for so long, because you start to realize that's what you look for. Not knowingly, you know, subconsciously, you kind of go towards that because that's all you know. So now that, you know, I know better, I've been going to therapy for a few years and growing and healing and stuff like that. Now that I'm in a healthy relationship, I'm realizing how many things I have to unlearn. So many things. You know, my poor boyfriend. You're a real one. Thanks for putting up with me. But yeah, definitely realizing there's a lot of things I'm realizing that I have to continue to work on. It's crazy how you'll go years and years of healing and growing and therapy, and you're like, wow, I'm so healed.
Yeah.
And then you realize, oh no, there's still a lot of work to be done.
Right. And it's like, and as somebody said on one of my podcast episodes before, it's like, it'll come back, but it'll just be like dressed a little differently. It'll be in a different sweater. And you're like, oh wait, this is the same fucking demon I dealt with before. Not demon, but problem.
Yeah, that, having to like relearn lessons until you actually get it, that I went through a lot. But now that I've learned those lessons, it's new lessons. Being in a healthy relationship, it's like, okay, since I haven't ever been in a healthy relationship, I never knew what that was like. So now that I'm in it, I'm like, wait a minute. There's some things where I'm like, wait, I've never been in this situation before, so I don't know how to go about it, and having to unlearn some things that unfortunately I had to learn to get through the toxic ones, or things like that.
You and your boyfriend are going to be like my little dating gurus. Do you feel like you, since having an addict as a mother, do you feel like you've attracted other addicts, or subconsciously like guys with addictive behaviors?
Yeah, I didn't think, I never really thought about it too hard before, but yeah, I mean, obviously not meaningfully or purposefully. Subconsciously, yeah, probably. Yeah, definitely dated a few guys who, smoked a lot, you know, abused drugs, alcoholics. Yeah, definitely have been with some people like that, for sure, unfortunately.
I think that's like the hardest thing for me, is like, not even the fact that I lost my mom, but like the fact of her having been an alcoholic, or like a highly functioning alcoholic, to some people not even an alcoholic, but it was. So that's been hard for me to like start dating healthily and like figure out what, like, with the attachments and the subconsciously, oh, I'm into the person that is unavailable because she was emotionally unavailable, or like shut down my feelings. Like, she was, you know, a great person, but obviously, like we're saying, it's a disease. So yeah, it's been interesting trying to date with that baggage. But yeah, not to put you on the spot, but if you ever want to go to an Al-Anon meeting with me, we can find a meeting that's to go with if you have like you're a child or of an alcoholic, or so no, it's not like if you had a problem, but like so they talk about like all different, a lot of them, their husbands were the ones that I went to, at least, but I think I want to go to one that's both genders to like
that'd be fun.
Check that out.
That,
if you want to go
that
with
would be really interesting. I've never done something like that.
Yeah, it was a really helpful, and I felt like I wanted to, like, you know, since therapy's not always accessible to us at all times of our lives, like, I wanted to check it out, like, a new location for it, because I did find it helpful, so I definitely want to check that out.
Yeah, that would be super cool.
Moving here, I've had few people, like, tell me, like, how hard they felt it is to make friends when they move places that are new, / I've had a conversation with somebody that's in their 40s, and they're saying, like, the same thing that people in their 30s are saying, and people right out of college are saying, of like, it's so hard to make friends. What are some of the things you've done to, like, try to make friends, or like, do you have any pointers or tips for people that are moving to make friends?
It is hard to make friends. I mean, even my partner who's lived here, you know, his whole life, well, I mean, he moved to New York and then came back, so he's only been back here recently.
They always come back to
LA. LA's amazing.
They always come back to Cali.
Yeah, I mean, if I was from here, hell yeah, I'd come back.
Yeah, literally.
Me? If I have the option, I'm being here. So, no, but even, like, he's struggled meeting people, you know, occasionally. It's tough, but and that's another thing, too, is, like, I don't know if you agree on this, but I feel like sometimes it's easier to make friends as a girl than as a guy. I feel like sometimes, girls can be a little more receptive, depending on who it is. But, like, I don't know. That's, like, one thing I've noticed, is that, like, I think just in society in general, it might be a little easier to make friends as girls. Than for guys. So, sorry, guys out there.
No, that you bring up an interesting point. I've watched a TikTok recently, and the girl was like, she's like, guys, watch this. Like, my fiance just told me his friend broke up with his fiance, and they were from Philly, so it was, like, funny to, like, hear the Philly accent. But anyway, they were like, she's like, so, like, what happened? Like, who broke it off? And he's like, I don't know. Yeah, it was like a bunch of, I don't know. He's like, yeah, he said somebody cheated, and she's like, who cheated? And he was like, I don't know. I was just like, so yeah, it was like very much so like, like, wow, bro, like, no, like, deeper questions. It's like from the story she was saying. So I don't have much. I mean, but from the guy friends that I do have, I hear what you're saying about, like, they don't, sometimes I guess they don't ask, like, the deeper, more intimate questions,
harder
maybe.
To approach people, too, probably. I feel like girls approaching girls is easier, but I feel like it's a little harder for guys to approach guys sometimes. I don't know. What do I know?
Make friends, guys.
I'm not a guy. I'm not a guy. Who knows? But, yeah, I think, I mean, how I met you is because I found that
Los Angelistas, shout out. My fave.
Them. Yeah, found them, went on, like, a little walk, because
the Beverly Hills walk.
Yes, exactly, because I've been wanting to, like, you know, I'm not a runner, and I saw everyone be...
Fuck the Venice Run Club.
Exactly, I see everyone be like, join a run club, you want to make friends, join a run club, but, like, and I go, but I don't run.
I want to talk to you, how am I going to talk and run?
Yeah, I can't talk, one, I can't yap and run, 2, I don't run, I can't do that, my body won't let me. And so I'm like, I like to go on walks and I like to yap. So are there walking? And that's the thing about LA. It's like, you want to do something, you can find it. There's so much to do here. There's so many other people who do the same things. So I was like, I like to walk. So I literally just went on Instagram and looked up walking groups. And that was one of them that popped up. And I said, all right, these people look like normal, chill people. I'm gonna go. And at the time, I think it was like, wasn't it Christmas Eve?
It was like Christmas Eve time,
It was Christmas, it was like Christmas
or
time.
Or just past maybe Christmas or something.
Yeah, because I went back home to see my family for Thanksgiving, so I knew I wasn't going to be able to go back for Christmas. So I was here, you know, my partner was visiting his family in Mexico, so I was like kind of here by myself. And I wasn't like super close with my roommates at that time, and so I was like, I had time off from work, and I was like, okay, I can't just sit in the house, like, you moved here to make friends and do things, like, go do something. So then I saw that they were like, we're gonna do a walk this day, and I was like, you're doing it, you're going. And so I made myself go. But I think that's the hard thing of why people struggle with making friends too, is like it's scary. It's scary and it's hard to like put yourself out there. But you have to just like do it. Cause I was like scared to go walk with a group of strangers.
Yeah, and it's like, who do I talk to? Like, what if
I don't know any of you people, but you know, like my boyfriend says, you have nothing to lose. You only have things you can only gain. You can only win in that situation. You have nothing to lose, and so it's like, okay, you go, and what if you don't hit it off with people? All right. Bye. I won't see these people ever again. So what?
Sometimes you gain a silly story.
Yeah, you get. That's what I say for the plot. If anything, you get a story out of it. You get something for the plot. So I was just like, and if anything, you get to go on a nice walk, and I get to see. I also like it because I get to see different parts of LA.
Yes, that was another huge thing for me.
That's a huge thing why I like that too. Is like, okay, one, I get to go on a walk. I like to go on walks. Two, maybe meet new people. But if not, I'm going on a walk and I'm in a new part of town that I've never been in before. So, like, cool. You win regardless. So, but I think you just have to be open to meeting people, like, and, like, receptive of that, and also just open to that, like, talking to people and, like, opening that door. You know, if you stay closed off and in the corner to the side or not talking to anyone, then you're not going to talk to anyone and you're not going to be friends with anyone. So you have to be willing to like start that and put yourself out there and go up to someone and be like, hi, I'm so-and-so, what's your name?
Yeah, I think being like intentional with like finding the plans, like you're saying, like look up things on Instagram, think of your hobbies, your interests that you want to try out. Yeah. And then like one of the things, or even like if it's like more networking stuff too, like that's how I met a number of people, not necessarily here, but back at home. But also, I try to remember everybody's been like to an event where they know nobody, and they felt the same way. They've been in your shoes. They felt awkward. They felt a little uncomfortable.
And no one cares.
Yes, nobody cares. Like they've been in your shoes, so get out of your own head.
Yes, I know in your head it can seem so scary and like, oh, they're judging me. They are not thinking about you. They don't care. They don't care whether you talk to them or not. They don't care. Like, get out of your head. They don't care at the end of the day. And even if they do care, even say like crazy randomly, they're like super rude and mean to you. Okay, I'll never see you again. Cool, problem solved. Like, and if anything, you get experience. You get experience of learning how to talk to people and learning how to make friends. It's okay if it doesn't go well and you hit it off with the first people you talk to and you don't become best friends. Like, that's okay.
Yeah. It really is like dating, too.
It really is. It really is. I feel like making friends is very similar to dating. If you don't put yourself out there, it's not going to happen. If you don't, like, you have to be willing to get shot down and be okay with that. Like,
you have to invite, like, each other to, like, do things. But also, like,
it takes work.
Yeah. And like you're saying with what you were saying earlier with family, like, just same thing with friends. It's important to have that reciprocal relationship because like if you're the only one making effort, then it's like, oh wait, this is one-sided. And that I've had to realize with like maybe my like bit of myetism or whatever. It's like, oh hey, hey, we're like actually not as close as I thought we were.
Yeah.
But yeah, we all have.
As long as you're having fun, you know, like, and you enjoy hanging out with people and having stuff to do with people, like, that's fine, you know. I got lucky that I went to this group and you were there and immediately kind of just hit it off with you. Like, I got really lucky for that. But yeah, you just have to like be willing to, I mean, what was I saying earlier, like opening the door, even just like telling a girl you think her outfit is cute.
Yes,
that's opening a door. Like, even if it doesn't go further than that, I've heard just being like, thanks, all right, cool, well, you made someone's day, you told them that you think they look cool. That's great. You win. Or they vibe with you and they go, I really like your outfit too. Where'd you get that? Oh, I got that here. Oh, I love that place. Oh, and you hit it off and you find something to talk about. You're never going to know if you hit it off with someone or find something like that you are both interested in if you don't open that door. And you can't always just wait for other people to open it for you. If you want that, if you want to be making friends and meet new people, then you have to be willing to do it yourself. You can't just wait for it to happen to you. You have to be willing to, open that door yourself and have it happen.
I feel like it's something across all almost ages too. Is I feel like we are all basically like trying to find new friends. Yeah. In a sense. So I feel that there's no shame in being
Oh
saying
yeah,
that
I
too.
straight up say that all the time to girls. When I can't tell you how many girls in LA I've met where I go, hey, I think you're cool. Can I get your Instagram? Or I straight up will just say, I'm trying to make new friends. I'm trying to make friends. Can I have your Instagram?
Mm-hmm.
I just moved here. I'm trying to make friends. Can we hang out? Like, just be upfront about it. Who cares? Like, there's nothing bad that's gonna come from that. Even if they're like, no. Okay, cool. Then I don't want to be your friend anyway. Like, anyway, all right, whatever. I'm on to the next. Like, there's so many people here. You're fine.
No, seriously, there's so many people, and I feel I've met a lot of people much easier than I have in the past few years living back at home. It was very interesting. I'm like, shit, I just met like one person after another, and I'm like, wait, was it because I put myself in the right situation, or just because I moved somewhere new? That's cool.
That's true too.
Probably a mix of it all.
Probably a mix, yeah, because I think about that, like, back home, it's like, yeah, I definitely feel like I'm meeting more people here, but it's also because, like, I don't know the people here. Like, I know a lot of the people back home, so, you know, but... And also, yeah, I'm being intentional with that. You have to, like, yeah, be intentional with what you're doing. If you want to meet people, then you have to go out and, like, talk to people.
Is there anything else that we didn't touch upon that you wanted to mention, bring up, or, like, any thoughts you want to leave the listener with?
Yeah, do what feels right to you. And, like, yeah, I mean, like, when it comes to moving, it's terrifying. Like, it's scary. I'm constantly battling anxiety all the time because I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm somewhere new. Like, I'm not home because I've only lived there my whole life and it's what I know. So to be somewhere different, sometimes you get that, like, oh my gosh, like, I'm not home. I'm with people that I haven't known since I was 12. Like, I'm with people I haven't known for years. Like, everyone back home I knew for years, and now I'm somewhere new and meeting new people, which is great and fun, but it can, like, you know, give you a little bit of anxiety, but you just have to, like, breathe and let go and know that, like, you're fine. You're gonna be fine. You can always go back home. If anything, it's a cool story. And the main thing when it came to, like, moving and trying to make new friends and everything is just, like, what would you regret more? Doing it or not doing it? And so I just try to think of that, like, when I'm older, like, when I have kids, what do I want to tell my kids I did and got to do? Or, you know, when I'm a grandma or, like, in my bed, you know, old, and, like, looking back in my life, I'm like, what would I regret more? Not doing it? Or doing it? Because I don't want to be that. I don't want to be old and think back, like, damn, I wish I moved to California and didn't do it. I don't feel that. I'd rather do it and it blow up in my face and be a mess and go, well, at least I did it and now I know, and move back home than not doing anything and not knowing. That's what kills me, is the not knowing.
Somebody, there's, like, a quote. It's like, when people get to their deathbed, they regret the things that they didn't do than the things they did do. Yes,
I've heard that too. You regret more what you don't do than what you do.
Yeah, which makes me think I have to get my longboard so that we can go skating, because I don't want to regret not doing that this summer.
Exactly. That's what I mean. And that kind of that kind of applies to anything. Moving, making friends, trying new things, traveling, doing anything. It's like, okay, it's more comfortable, to not do it. It's scary to do things. But what would you regret more, not doing it or doing it?
Like, take the leap.
And if it all blows up in your face, so well, then you know. And it's a lesson and you learned.
Yeah, and if you need advice or you need somebody to push you, talk to one of us.
Yes.
We will let you know.
We'll
let you know. We'll motivate you to do it.
Exactly.
Persuade you.
Yes.
All right. Well, thanks so much for coming on today.
Of course. Thanks.
You'll have to come back soon.
My first pod. Oh my gosh. I'm a true LA girly now.
Yes. And this is my first guest in my makeshift studio. So,
I love it.
Yeah. And shout out to my friend for setting up the sound. So hopefully everything sounds good besides my, like, stomach digesting that Olive Garden we had.
That was delicious.
And the airplanes.
And me throwing my water bottle on the ground on accident.
All right. Well, thank you so much for tuning in today. Don't forget to subscribe to the show, share it with a friend, and leave a really quick review, written or star. It really helps other people to get their eyes on the show and to get on the path to transformation. Find me at TammyU_wellness and at Gather with Tammy as well. And the link tree's got all the other stuff too. Thanks so much for listening. I really appreciate it. And I will catch you on the next one.
Bye.